Sam on the track. Sam on the track.
Hey, coach. Yes, you. You feeling burned out? Players not locked in? Parent drama wearing you down? Well, this is the place for you. The Coach's Code podcast, where we help you lead with purpose, protect your peace, and build programs that last. So do me a favor, coach. Subscribe to this channel, hit that bell if you're on YouTube, and share this with another coach who's trying to do it the right way. Your journey just got a whole lot stronger. Welcome to the Coach's Code podcast. Hey, coach. Yes, you. You feeling burned out? Players not locked in? Parent drama wearing you down? Well, this is the place for you. The Coach's Code podcast, where we help you lead with purpose, protect your peace, and build programs that last. So do me a favor, coach. Subscribe to this channel, hit that bell if you're on YouTube, and share this with another coach who's trying to do it the right way. Your journey just got a whole lot stronger. Welcome to the Coach's Code podcast. Well, hey, coach. Yes, you. Here we go. We back with the Coach's Code podcast. Want to let you know, hey, today, look, let's start and jump right into it. Look, coach, you're not lazy, okay? You're overloaded. You've been trying to carry an entire program without a real blueprint, running on empty, and still telling yourself this is just a part of the job. So, look, what if I told you that burnout isn't a badge of honor? That exhaustion isn't the price of leadership? Here's the truth. You never were meant to just survive coaching. You were called to lead it with clarity, purpose, and longevity. It all starts right here with the vision that lasts longer than a season, with the foundation that supports you, not just your team. Let's fix what's broken. Let's build something sustainable, not just successful. Look, so today here we are, we're jumping right in. What I want to do today is I want to break down one shift that completely changed the way I coach. Today, what we're focused on, matter of fact, let me get this on the screen so y'all can see what we got going on for today. This is the Coach's Code podcast, empowering coaches, enriching lives. And today, we talk about why most coaches burn out and how to build a foundation that lasts. This is coming from my book, The Complete Coach, that I wrote in 2024, back in October. And we're going to go through each chapter of this book every week, all the way into September. So you tune in every week at 7:30. Come in, lock in. If you already have the book, go ahead and pull it out, and you can go along with me. And we're just gonna have us a good little talk, okay? So, all right, here's what we dive into today. I'm breaking down one shift that completely changed the way I coach. It's that move from just surviving the day-to-day chaos to building a clear, purpose-driven foundation for my program. And I'm telling you, it helped me stop feeling overwhelmed and start leading with a way more confidence and peace of mind. If you've been feeling stretched thin or like what you're stuck in, constant reaction mode, this is the place for you. Because once you lock into this foundation, everything else starts to make sense. So, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I can remember it was like it was yesterday. Overwhelmed, frustrated. I started to even question, was I even built to be a coach? I mean, losing games, close ones. We weren't getting blown out, you know what I'm saying? But we were putting up a good fight, but it's the kind of losses that kept you up at night, you know. And what made it even harder is that the kids were good. It wasn't like they had bad attitudes and they worked hard. They showed up every single day. We had our same issues like everybody has, But instead of stepping back to assess the big picture, I took it personal. I thought, like, what more can I do? Why am I not enough? What is it I can do different, to get us to win games? I mean, I totally put everything on me. I didn't point the fingers at the kids, They were still learning what I was looking for them to do. And looking back, it was a huge disconnect. I mean, I was preaching structure, discipline, culture, but I wasn't living it with clarity. My message, it was cloudy. My spirit was extremely tired. Truth is, I was trying to lead a program without first letting God lead me. Now, we say that. Uh, we pray and we read, and we try to do our good deeds, but ultimately there's something that's sometimes we could be missing with our walk with the Lord. I hit a wall really hard, and I took an encounter with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. They woke me up, and what it did was the area that He woke me up in. It helped me show me where I was falling short. And that happened through counseling, through having a praying pastor and first lady who was able to, basically just see right through me. And so I was able to see the area that I was falling short in. I actually knew it, but I was just kind of, trying to hide from myself. But that moment changed everything. One day we'll go into details about that. I've shared it before, but I'll get back into it one day. But I did realize I couldn't demand alignment from my team, and I wasn't aligned myself. It was impossible. I mean, if there were areas in my life that I was falling short, how can I demand greatness from my players
and I wasn't doing it. But that's when the shift started, though. I got serious about my foundation, not just as a coach, but as a man, a leader, a believer. And from there, I built a new vision. Not one that chased wins, but one that reflected my values. A vision I could live and not just say, because that's what I was guilty of. I was trying to get my guys to live out and to do things that, in my personal life, I was falling short myself. And like I said, we're not perfect. We gonna make decisions, make bad choices throughout the course of our time. But we got to be honest about what our purpose is, what our desires are, and what we're hoping to accomplish. So here's the turning point for me. I literally stopped trying to fix the team. Did you hear that, Coach? I know it's crazy, but I literally stopped trying to fix the team, and I started rebuilding the foundation, starting with me. Okay. I had to peel back the layers and really give myself an opportunity to know who I was as a person. And I had to start from scratch. So I went back to the basics, not the playbook, not the scouting reports, but the vision for what I wanted this program to stand for. That's what I had to go back and find out. The biggest thing is like, what did I want this program to stand for? It wasn't just win. I want to win, believe that, but what did I want it to stand for? And that's where setting the foundation, the first section of my book, The Complete Coach, that's where it came to life. Now, mind you, I didn't write the book. I've been coaching 20 years. I didn't write it then, but I did write down things to help me to start to understand what it is I wanted to be as a coach. And so this is where setting the foundation section came to life. The introductory section of my book, The Complete Coach. I got crystal clear on three things: who I was as a coach, what I believed in, and what kind of young men I wanted to help build. Now, think about that. We're coaching a sport. It's a game. We want to win games. We want to run plays. We want to have defensive rotations. We want to, do all these different things and say, oh man, we know what we're doing as a coach. But there were three things I had to get clear on. Who was I as a coach? What I believed in, and what kind of young men I wanted to help build. So I had to redefine success from just the wins and the losses. I had to get to a point to where what are the steps that needed to be taken to get where I say we wanted us to be. So it was not just wins, but it was growth, consistency, buy-in, and trust. With those things that we got to do these things on a day-to-day basis in order to get to the point that we can win games. Because, I didn't have uber talented teams. I had some good players, hard workers. But, when you don't have just this, stud talent, your margin for error is very, very thin. And you got to have the ability to try to minimize those mistakes so you can give yourself an opportunity to win. So, so I laid out our core values, not as a decoration. It wasn't something I put up on the walls and things like that, but it gave us direction. It was easy for us to remember. And first off, I started living them every day. Even making bad decisions, bad choices. The bottom line is I needed to model what I wanted to see instead of just talking about it. So as crazy as that sounds, I mean, I know my guys don't see my personal life, but they can see the fruit of my personal life by how I carry myself. And so that was the biggest thing right now, is getting some core values. So that became my strategy. Start with vision, set a standard, and then live it out loud. Think about that, coach. Start with the vision, okay? Set the standard to get to that vision, and then live it out loud, okay, that it can be seen. So now let's go a little further. Let's get into some of the framework, the principles, and different things. So before I ever created the Coach's Code framework, which is the framework, it's the foundation of the book, The Complete Coach. It was something that I had already started building in my program. I just didn't have it articulated yet. So just so you know what the code framework is, okay? CODE is an acronym, okay? So the Coach's Code is what I live by as a coach, okay? And CODE is an acronym. So if you're writing some down or taking some notes, C is coach with purpose, okay? Coach with purpose. I gotta know why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay. Next is optimize team dynamics. So what does that mean? That means get the most and get the best out of the players that you have. Okay. It's not looking at other teams and looking at what you don't have and the resources that that's not what it is. It's getting the most out of what you do have. So that's O, optimize team dynamics. D, drive success through well-being. Okay. So what does that mean? Like I told y'all earlier, I had to get in alignment. I had to, the values that I grew up around that I still wasn't living, I had to get in alignment with those things. So I can have peace of mind, so I can have clarity, so I can, live out the faith that I say that I'm living. And by doing that, what I'm doing is now is I'm able to get to success, drive success through well-being. So I'm not skipping over rest, recovery, study time, prayer time, spending time with my family. Those things are part of my well-being, and it helps to keep me centered. And the last thing is to empower through modeling. Okay. Empower through modeling. That means that my players can see my life and see it as something that, hey, I want to live like that. Okay. Now, mind you, when we see coaches and we see us on the sideline with our antics and all those different things, that's all people see. They don't see your text messages. They don't see your phone calls. They don't see you visiting kids at the hospital. They don't see you taking them food. They don't see all those things. All they see is a riled up coach on the sideline. But so before I created the Coach's Code framework, I started living it out, and I put it into my program. So now, one of the things that I did start years ago, and it's kind of funny for those of you that were born in the 80s like me and grew up in the 90s. So if you're 40 plus right now, you're going to feel what I'm saying. If y'all ever listen to any rap, you remember Master P and the No Limit Soldiers. And they had something called True to the Game. Okay. And so what I did was I took that and I made it into a motto, and I turned it into an acronym as well. And for me, TRU, for me, okay, means trust, respect, and unity. So now for copyright purposes, we know that True to the Game for Master P was true, the number 2 DA game, true to the game. So for copyright infringement and trademarking rights, mine is true TRU to the game. So it's any game that you coach, trust, respect, and unity. So this is how the foundation was set for us. And for those that know the legendary coach Bobby Knight, we know Bobby Knight was crazy on that sideline, but he's a legend. He's a winner. He had a lot of success as a coach with the players that he had, a high graduation rate, a lot of guys doing well. And but Bobby Knight said this: you don't want to have too many rules. See, because your rules are always going to get tested, but you do need to have standards in place. You need to have a foundation of what you stand for. And so with my guys, it's always been, is your decision making building trust? Are you earning trust with your teammates on a day-to-day basis? Okay. The next thing is, are you building respect every single day with how hard you work, doing your work in class, how you behave in class, on the hallways? Are you building respect with your teammates? Can they look at you and say, I respect my teammate? And the other thing is that being unified, okay, is that you as a person, am I showing my teammates that I'm on the same page as them? Because remember, it wasn't our performance on the court. The performance on the court was a result of us trusting each other, respecting each other, and being unified in what our purpose was. Now, does that get tested every day? Yes, it does. But ultimately, one of those things is those are the pillars and the values that I use to help develop over the years. So these 3 values shaped our discipline policy, how our guys carried themselves on and off the court, and eventually became the identity of our program. Now, I didn't have the language for it yet back then, but the roots were deep. Later, when I got intentional, I started going through the setting foundation process. So like I told you in the first introductory chapter of my book is setting the foundation. And I realized that I had the heart. Now I needed some structure. So, that was a thing that for me that it was very, very difficult during that time. But I started to find myself, start putting these things in place to see how I'm going to structure myself so I can get to the vision of what I saw my program getting to. Now, I have an excerpt here for us to read from my book. It's on Roman numeral 7 of the Setting the Foundation section. And what I'm going to do is, if y'all give me a second, let me pull it up so y'all can see it, okay? So y'all give me a moment. Y'all bear with me. Trying to do this computer stuff here. All right. Okay. All right. Hopefully y'all can see that. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. And it says here, every great coaching journey begins with a vision. This isn't just about where you want your team to be at the end of the season. It's about understanding the long-term impact you aim to have on your athletes, the school, and the community. So let's read that again. Every great coaching journey begins with a vision. This isn't just about where you want your team to be at the end of the season. It's about understanding the long-term impact you aim to have on your athletes, the school, and the community. Okay? So coming back in, give me a second here. Now, that really hit home with me. That's why I put it in the book. There's something where I want our program to be noted by, and because I didn't get into coaching just to run a team. I did. I started off that way, of course, but ultimately I started to learn that I wanted to win titles, and that's paramount. That's why you coach. You coach to win, but I didn't want to just be remembered for the game plans or the win records. Now, I didn't start off that way. Okay, I still want to win at the highest level, but ultimately, I wanted my teams to look and play a certain way that exemplified excellence and hard work. Okay, and that meant even more to me than just wins. If you ask my players that play for me, we can win by 20. And if it was sloppy, I would rip into them. If it was just a night that we were the better team, I didn't take that well. I coached harder because I knew that in order to beat the top tier programs, we had to play a certain way, no matter who we were playing. Okay, because guess what? The next night we weren't the best team. When you talk about the top 5, 10 teams in the state, we were trying to measure ourselves against them, and so that's why I had to keep in front of them our vision and our pillars and what it is we want to stand for. So I want to raise up young men who will one day become committed husbands, present fathers, and leaders in their homes, communities, and careers. So I want you to think about that for a second. All I want to win. The biggest thing for me that I learned after I went through my own personal transformation is what was most important to them is that I can't make anybody, become a husband. Okay. I can't make them become a father, but our society does need that. That is something that is needed. And when I think about our creation roles and how God created us and what he created us to be, when you think about a man, okay, at the core of a man, we should want to lead a family. Okay. That means being a committed husband, which, hey, be honest with you, I have not always done that. I have not always been committed as a husband. Be a present father, have not always been great at that. That's not something that's like, it's this perfect picture that I do it right every single time. But the intentionality behind wanting to be that person is what drives me, okay? And it keeps me in check. So committed husbands, present fathers, and leaders in their homes and communities and careers. So that became the heartbeat of my vision, okay? Trust, respect, and unity, and committed husbands, fathers, and leaders in homes, communities, and careers. So I wanted our program to be a place where trust, respect, and unity weren't just team rules, but they were life habits. Always thinking about that is what I'm doing, building trust in my team. My team is going to respect me for this decision I made and letting them know I'm on the same page as them and we're unified. So every standard, every boundary, every moment we held them accountable, it was about something bigger than basketball. We say that all the time. But we get lost, we get caught up because we want to win. We do. And the bottom line is that sports is not the end all be all. It's just not. So I was coaching with legacy in mind. I really wanted my guys to have their futures in mind while they performed on and off the court. So here are 3 tactical takeaways. So I want to make sure, like I said, if you're taking any notes or, of course, the videos will be up. You can come back to it if you want to write it down or anything. Here are 3 tactical takeaways. Okay. So think about this. Number 1, here we go, coach. Identify your long-term purpose. Okay. Ask yourself, what kind of men or women am I helping to shape and mold? Okay. Think about it. Identify your long-term purpose. Ask yourself, coach, what kind of men am I helping to shape, men or women, am I helping to shape or mold? Okay. If your answer includes things like family, leadership, and legacy, you're already coaching with purpose. So think about it. So go ahead and we'll clap you up. All right. So let you know if you're questioning yourself about that now, and you should be, if you think about family, leadership, legacy, you're already coaching with purpose. Okay. Number 2, let your core values speak to life, not just sport. So think about that. Your core values, what you stand on. Okay. You want that to speak to life, the type of life you want your players to lead, not just the sport, not just performance. Because guess what? What you're speaking into their life is going to show up in the sport that they play. The character, the resilience, the toughness, the tenacity, the persistence, the diligence, all those things will show up in the game when you let the core values speak into their lives. Okay. Another excerpt from my book. I'm not gonna turn to it or share the screen right now, but this is one of the things it says in this section. Set it in the foundation. These values form the bedrock of your coaching philosophy. Okay. Trust, respect, and unity were never basketball values for me. They were life values, and we treated them that way. Let me tell you why. There's a word in America that we don't use anymore and we don't live by. It's empathy. Empathy. That's where that came from for me, is a big thing, is empathy. And let me tell you why. And what it is about the word empathy, it means in order for me to, is I have the ability to feel what somebody else is feeling. Okay. So if you think about it, if trust, respect, and unity, okay, are not just basketball values for me, but they're life values, and we want to treat them that way. Those values are trust, respect, and unity. Yeah, think about it. If I take a moment to think about how my actions will affect the people around me, and I put myself in their shoes, it makes me think twice before some of the things I do. Now, like I told you, that don't mean you get it right every single time. That's not what that means. I want to be dead set honest about that. It doesn't mean you're going to get it right every single time, but the intentionality, okay, behind taking a moment to think how my actions are going to affect those around me. Those are life lessons, okay? And it shows up on the court. Like I said, I'm a basketball coach. So football, baseball, we have assignments and rotations and different things that we're responsible for. When we play volleyball, all those things. And we're depending on our teammates to be where they are supposed to be while I do my job. So when I do my job that I have, okay, I'm trusting, okay, that my teammates are going to be where they're supposed to be. And they're going to respect me because I'm where I'm supposed to be. And what does that do? Unifies us, okay? So remember that word is that when you're developing your core values, the word empathy to me has a lot of value when I think about how, my ability to feel what somebody else is feeling. And if I know that I'm going to have somebody, feeling awkward or a little bit by my behavior, it makes me think twice. Okay. So third thing, first 2 things is identify your long-term purpose. Number 2 is let your core values speak to life, not just sport. And the third and final one is keep communicating the bigger picture. Okay. Keep communicating the bigger picture. Why is it that we're doing what we're doing on a day-to-day? But whatever your system is, whatever plays you run, whatever defensive sets you have, the things that you're doing that you believe in when it comes down to coaching, you got to remember, keep on communicating the big picture. So it gives your players an opportunity to buy in and understand why I'm having to do things this way or that way. Okay. That has great value. Again, Here goes another excerpt from the book. I'm going to go ahead and share that again. Okay, take a moment. So y'all give me a second to pull it up. All right. Hopefully y'all read that. Y'all can see that there. And it reads, crafting a vision involves deep reflection on what you value most and how those values translate into the athletic sphere. Okay, let's read that again. Crafting a vision involves deep reflection on what you value most and how those values translate into the athletic sphere. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, okay, as a matter of fact, let me go back. I read the wrong one, y'all. All right. Anyway, I'll just read it. Share your vision with your team, coaching staff, and all the stakeholders. When your players know what you're really about, they rise to it, not just for the game, but for life. So think about that. Communicate the bigger picture. I read y'all the wrong one. Go back and read it again, okay? Keep communicating the bigger picture. Share your vision with your team, your coaching staff, and all your stakeholders. When your players know what you're really about, they rise to it, not just for the game, but for life. And I'm telling you, in my 20 years of doing this now, I've seen the light bulb moments. I've seen the times where my players, when it finally hit home and it made sense to them. One of the things I always say is when your players start talking like you, they're bought in. All right. When they start to repeat the things that you repeat, that means they're starting to value. I mean, and sometimes even when they mock and play around with it, that's actually a sign of respect. I had I think my freshman basketball coach Mike Green told us this. He told me that when I was older. He said when your players start mocking you, they actually respect you. So think about that, man. Communicate the bigger picture. So when I aligned my purpose with my program, everything changed. I wasn't just about coaching players. I was building men. Okay. And that is when I saw us go from being a 10-win team to a 12-win team to a 19-win team to a 22-win team to 24 to 28. We kept growing because the focus was building the men and not just winning the game. So let's take a break right here. I think y'all enjoy this. I'm trying. This is all new for me. So I'm my own sponsor. So this is a commercial. So give me a moment and we'll share this commercial with you and we'll be right back in about a minute. Okay.
Hey, coach. Yes, you. I know you've got a lot on your plate. Practice plans, scouting, keeping your players motivated, and still trying to show up strong at home. That's why I created the Complete Coach book and the Strategies in Action workbook. These two resources are built from the trenches for coaches who want to lead without burning out, who want to build culture and accountability that sticks. Inside, you'll find proven tools for setting a clear vision, balancing life and leadership, and getting your athletes to buy in. So, if you've been looking for a playbook that's bigger than basketball, football, baseball, or whatever team sport you coach at any level, this is it. Grab your copies today at eddiejhamilton.com/completecoach or click the link in the description. Now, let's continue this episode.
All right. So we're back. Hopefully, you enjoyed that commercial. So now let's jump right into the shift, the reframe, the transformation from putting all these things together. So here's the shift that changed everything for me. I finally realized if I didn't coach from peace, I'd keep leading from pressure. Now, let me tell you what that looks like, and give you the example of for me. For those of you who locally who have been to my games and seen me coach, you've seen me get fired. Okay, especially when I was younger, when I was in the process of really trying to develop and build a program a few years ago. And guess what? I still go back and forth with this sometimes because, like I said, I'm human. But I want you all to understand, when as a human being, sometimes we have personal things going on and it comes out in our coaching, and people, like, for other people who work in other arenas, we don't see their issue. We don't see their stress, but as coaches, we're always in front of people, always. And so the thing about it is that that's why it's very, very important that we focus on our well-being as people, and we know how to set up boundaries. Because the bottom line is, let me say this again: if I didn't coach from peace, I'd keep leading from pressure. Okay, and you get to see that. And so, and my players, guess what? They feel it. They feel it. The players can tell when you're a little bit more wound up than usual. Okay, even if you're a high strung coach, laid back, they can feel it. And it's one of those things you can't fool no kids. You can't fool no kids. They might not be able to articulate everything, but they can feel it. So remember, you want to coach from peace and not from pressure. Okay, I was giving everything I had, but I was pouring from an empty cup. Okay. So everything that was inside of me, like it was nothing there, and I was trying to still give. Okay. It is not because I didn't care. It's just because I was trying to care without clarity. I didn't have a vision. I didn't have a purpose early in my career. All my focus was just winning, 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 winning. And so when winning is all you're trying to do, is then you kind of get into this all or nothing mindset by any means necessary. And you will say or do anything when you're coaching, because all it is I'm trying to win. But like I said, when you set a foundation and you have a vision and you have core values, you have something that you can focus on in the big picture as a coach, what happens is it helps to keep you cool, calm, and collected in certain situations. Now, mind, like I said, blown assignments and, didn't run a play right, that stuff that happens. But ultimately, when you are only focused on winning the game, you skip the steps of having values to stand on. Or, are my players right now focused on who we are as a team? And that's the thing that sometimes you can call a timeout or settle your team with. Okay. So, and honestly, I didn't get there on my own. I didn't get to a point of having values and, setting the foundation of things on my own. I had mentors in my life, and I still do. Okay. Men I trust, who had walked the path, and they started challenging me to slow down, to get clear on what I was really building. I've mentioned, the late great Dave Bryant, somebody who I love dearly. I'm currently serving as the head coach in his hometown of Plain Dealing. I probably talked to him more than anybody, but there were others as well. Coach Chris Bush, who is now a supervisor down in DeSoto Parish here in Louisiana. Coach Todd Russ down in the Lafayette area, Coach Casey Jones and Woz. But these were guys that I talked to, kind of like big brothers. And they helped me to have something bigger to focus on than just winning, but how I wanted to get to the wins. Okay. And one of them pointed me in this line in setting the foundation. And so out of the book, here's another excerpt, and I'll just read it. I won't open it up. And basically what he told to me, and this was Coach Bryant, say, crafting a vision involves deep reflection on what you value most and how those values translate into the athletic sphere. So, Coach Bryant, when he was in Plain Dealing, for him, that's his hometown. And you can feel that how he had those guys performing was not just about the game. For him, it's a small town, not a lot there, but he wanted those young men to get out and become something, and there are players that he had you talk to this very day. They, made it to college, made it pro. And some didn't make it in sports, but they're doing well in their careers, who you see them now in their latter stages of their life, where they'll always tell you that Coach Bryant always believed in them and fought for them to see themselves outside of Plain Dealing and not just playing a game, but they're representing their community. And he did an excellent job of doing it, and he helped me to understand that as well. So it really hit me really hard, and I appreciate him for that. And I had been reacting to the results instead of living out my values. I was managing chaos, not modeling clarity. Okay. And this is a light bulb moment for me. It was a big time, to have conversations like that when it hit me, because he said it to me several times, but, sometimes we hard headed and it takes a little while for things to hit. So my leadership couldn't just come from pressure. Okay. It had to come from peace. It had to come from purpose. It had to come from alignment. And when I started coaching from that place, things began to shift. I'm telling you, the tone of the team changed, our energy changed, and I changed. Um, and I'm grateful for even the players that I had and the parents who allowed me to grow up on the job training. Like I said, that's the purpose of the book I wrote, The Complete Coach, to help coaches have a solid foundation and a blueprint to help the things that coaches like myself and others, who've been around for a while, we really didn't have a blueprint. We just wanted to coach and we had to learn on the fly. You know what I'm saying? And so what this book does is it helps coaches to have a foundation, have a blueprint to help line out your values and how you want your program to look, and you get it down and write it on paper. So here's a reflection as we getting close to the end here. If you're feeling stretched thin, like you're leading on fumes, maybe it's time to ask yourself, what am I building? Who am I becoming? Ask yourself this, coach. What am I building? Who am I becoming? And maybe, just maybe, it's time to let someone speak into your life. Okay? Think about it. You might need somebody to speak into your life. Not anybody that just agrees with your gripes and complaints, but somebody that speaks into you. A mentor, a brother, a fellow coach, a pastor, a therapist, a counselor who can help you see what you can't see yet. Because that's one of the things that you got to have a clear vision in order for you to know what it's going to take to get to it. So I'm telling you, get a mentor, a brother, okay, a sister, fellow coach, pastor, therapist, counselor, any one of those things to help you see what you can't see yet inside of yourself, okay? And I'll say this to you. You don't have to lead from pressure. You were never meant to carry this alone. Lead from peace, build from purpose, and let others help guide the foundation God is laying in you. Okay? Remember that, lead from peace, build from purpose. Okay? You go back and listen to this video. I also got some freebies that's in the description. I want you to check it out. Okay? So as we close here, Coach, if anybody's told you lately, you're doing sacred work, okay? This is definitely a calling, okay? You're doing sacred work. It may not always show up in the win column, but it shows up in hearts, it shows up in homes, and in the kind of men and women your players become. And keep that in mind. I know we say it all the time, but keep it in mind. We're doing this. This is sacred work. There are a lot of people who coach from the sidelines. Who some wish they could mend your shoes. Some just run their mouth, and it don't matter. But don't let the weight make you forget your why. Okay, don't let the weight make you forget your why. You were never called to do this alone, and you were never called to lose yourself while leading others. Okay. You want to make sure that you are focusing on the type of person that you are and lead from that place. Even while you're growing, be transparent with your players. Let them know the areas in your life that you're growing. My prayer is that you keep building with peace, with purpose, and with people around who remind you of who you are. That's one of the biggest things, man. Be around people who remind you who you really are, and I pray and I declare it over your life that you keep on building, okay? Because coaching isn't just about X's and O's. It's about planting seeds that will outlive the scoreboard. I'm telling you, 20 years in, man, I know it, okay? I've seen it. I've seen the fruit of the labor. And so, be bigger than X's and O's. X's and O's are good. That's easy. But really peeling back who you are as a person and leading from that place takes some work. Okay. So before you head out, don't forget to check out the description for this week's free downloads. Okay. So if you're on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube, go over there, go to the YouTube page, subscribe to the Coach's Code channel, and I'm giving away some free stuff. All right. So check it out, man. I got a lot of resources, some PDFs, some downloads, some things to help you on your journey. And feel free, man, send me a direct message on any one of the platforms under the Coaches Code. Let's spark a conversation. And, so I'm here to help. So this is Coach Eddie J. I'm reminding you we're empowering coaches, elevating programs, enriching lives. Until next time, keep coaching with purpose.
Hey, Coach. Yes, you. First, thank you for tuning in to tonight's show. Before you go, don't forget, everything you need to lead well and last long is waiting for you at my website, eddiejhamilton.com/shop. Devotionals, digital workbooks, tools to build culture, and real strategies to help you navigate coaching, family, and faith. It's all there. So do me a favor, Coach. Click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and share this with a coach who's ready to lead with purpose. We're in this together. Let's build something that lasts. Hopefully I'll see you at the next show coming soon. So stay tuned. Have a great day, Coach.